So, we're going to be drawing probably the most popular character ever created. It's me and his people. And it's not Mickey Mouse. We just drew Mickey. It's Donald Duck, and this shocks a lot of people when I say that. But I will back it up before we're through. Now, we're going to start out the way that we usually do, with a circle. And I don't know if you've ever been here before when they've explained the best way to draw a circle, so I'm going to do that right now. Lock your wrist, hold your pencil up, and let your shoulder roll around when you draw your circles, and you're going to get much, much nicer circles. Now, Donald, of course, we're going to draw him looking really happy, so his mouth is going to be open, his face, and then we need room up here for the hat. So if this is the middle of my page, I always like to put a little belly button, then I'm going to put that circle right around it. Now you can make this circle about the size of a softball, a big circle on that great big piece of paper you have. I am working a bit smaller. Mine's not even quite the size of a baseball here because I'm under the cameras and we have to have a smaller piece of paper. Now notice how lightly I drew that. It is just barely dark enough to see. But that's the way I want it because I want this rough part to just disappear into the background. I'm only going to darken in or lock in, as Vanessa and I like to say, the good stuff, but it's too soon for that. Let's go ahead and put some guidelines down. One's going to split that pizza pie right in half, right down the middle. Okay? And then we're going to go about a quarter of the way up from us. So halfway down will be right about here. A quarter should be right about here. Maybe a little bit more than a quarter of the way from the bottom. And we're going to start. This seems kind of odd, but it'll all come together. With the corners of his smile, since he's going to be smiling in our drawing, I'm going to go right to where the circle meets that crossing guideline that we just drew. I put a letter J there, and then one on the same spot over here on the flip side. It should go right about here, I think. Okay? So the corners of his smile. Now trust the process. This may seem a little weird. But I'm going to go to the bottom of my circle, and I'm going to go across till I'm underneath that J and put a tick mark right there. Go to the bottom of the circle again, come across and put a tick mark under that J. And then we're going to just put a little hill and shave off the bottom of that circle as we go from here to there, building his bill. There we go. That's looking good. So you can see that I'm starting to push harder and boldening that line and making it a permanent part of my drawing of Mr. D. Now, I'm going to turn those J's into S's by going out and down like this, and out and down like this. Looks pretty good. Yep. I'm going to go ahead and get all of this now locked in. Nice dark lines there. Connect everything. Make sure everything looks smooth and connected. Oh boy. Donald, what a character this guy is. He started out as a bit player in an old cartoon called The Wise Little Hen, but right away, Walt and his people knew that they had stumbled upon something great with this character. Let's go ahead and put a width line underneath this line right here. I'm just going to draw a little hill. That'll just show that his bill has some thickness to it. And since he's going to be smiling big and pretty, I'm going to give him some smile lines at the tops of the corners of his bill here and right here. Okay? These little single line rainbows we call smile lines. His cheeks are going to wrap around those now. So I'm just going to put an upside down letter U. It does not go any further than this line right here. Okay? It starts in that little gap. It comes up and around, but that's where you hit the brakes. Let's do that. I'm going to start it there and just go the other way. So on this side, it's looking pretty good. Now, this is going to make visual sense when we take the next approach to open his mouth up into what we call a laughing smile. Start at the side of his cheek area, very lightly. Pull down a diagonal line. And this side, same thing. Now I'm looking at that center guideline going, hey, good, well done. That's pretty even Steven on both sides. Well done you, Thomas. Let's go ahead and join those up. Pat myself on the back here.
Join those together at the bottom, just like that, with a nice curve. Now, all you want to lock in is just the stuff underneath the bill. Obviously, you don't want to darken those lines that we just drew to get us there. That would look weird. Just like that. There we go. Donald, a lot of his popularity, I think, was due to the wonderfully talented man who was his voice for many, many years. Nowadays, it's done by a man who was actually a Disney animator, Tony Anselmo. He's been doing it for quite a while now. But before that, it was the great Clarence Nash. And Clarence was so popular and so loved for being the voice of Donald Duck that they nicknamed him Ducky. So he was just Ducky Nash to everybody. You actually can see Clarence himself doing the voice of Donald Duck in an old Disney film that's on Disney Plus called The Reluctant Dragon. They have a clip where you see them like in the studio and you see Clarence Nash and this woman doing the voice of Clara Cluck singing opera as a chicken. It's just the greatest thing ever. Okay, now we're going to open his mouth up by going to do what we just did. Let's go to the corner of his smile this time and bring down 2 lines. Now see, we do that because when you see those, you see that, it makes this visual sense. Things look like they're connected. But we're going to do the same thing, join those together, and then just lock in those lines underneath the bill. And since his mouth is wide open, what do you think we're going to see inside? Yell it out.
Tongue.
It's tongue. It's a little curved letter B, not very long. There we go. Just right there, using that center guideline, of course. All right. Now we're going to take a ride on the Incredicoaster. Everybody pull on that yellow strap. Here we go. We're going to go down the hill. We're going to hit that line. Then we're going to go up the hill. And then we're going to go down the hill. We're going to go back up the hill. So right there in the center, you bump up. You've got these wonderful pockets now to put his very big, very expressive eyes in. There we go, just like that. Okay. Rocking and rolling. Everybody doing good so far? Okay. You're studious. I like that, don't you? Let's get... Oh, I made that bold statement that he's more popular than Mickey Mouse. Back in the day, when short films, short cartoons were just a part of the movie-going experience. They're not so much anymore. But you wouldn't go to the movies and see even a serious film like Casablanca without seeing a cartoon first. But Donald Duck films were more popular than Mickey Mouse. And Walt Disney or somebody at the studio made the comment. They said, well, Mickey Mouse is who we all want to be, but Donald Duck is who we really are. It makes perfect sense. Let's go ahead and put those big goose egg eyes of his right here in those pockets. I'm going to use his cheek as a brace and bring up a big curve on this side and likewise over here. Okay, they're about the same height now. I'm going to do a U-turn, put this big goose egg right there in that nest. Now I'm looking at that center guideline. That means this one should be right about here. So that I'm even, Steven. Excuse me. And just get those nice and locked in now. There we go. Donald has an amazing history. Being as popular as he is, during World War II, very, very tumultuous time in our nation's history, Walt Disney stepped up and did a lot for his country. And what he did was he gave them Donald Duck to help soldiers learn how to be good soldiers. The Disney studio produced dozens of cartoons starring Donald as an army recruit and making all the mistakes that soldiers might make and having their triumphs as well. And it helped out a lot at that time. Let's go ahead and put his pupils low and inside. I'm going to draw in a very complete oval right here. Notice that I do draw a complete oval and not just a half a circle, which would leave me looking cross-eyed. Do the same thing over here on the flip side, so it looks like he's staring right out at us. Thrilled that you're all here with us today. He also, during that time, went to South America in 2 films, Saludos Amigos and the three caballeros, the government came to Walt and said, we need to make sure that South America is with us in this thing, right? And not joining up with the Axis. And so they said, why don't we send you as a goodwill ambassador, Walt? And he goes, well, that's not my job. He goes, but I'll take a bunch of my artists. We'll go to South America and we'll come back and make some love letters. We'll make films that are just love letters to all the different countries in South America. Brazil, Mexico, and that's how we got Panchito the chicken, the rooster, and Jose Carioca from Brazil. Let's go ahead and follow the studied line. See that curve right at the top of his eye? I just drew it a little bit higher, and in doing so, I got a nice eyebrow for my duck. Because in the world of Disney, ducks have eyebrows. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Let's go ahead and do that over here. There we go. It's pretty good. Got to give him that little tuft of hair at the top of his head. I'm just going to bring this up and put a shark fin going up, shark fin coming sideways, and then baby shark, going right down just like that. He's pretty cheeky, so I'm just going to add to his cheeks with a little curve, and then join the brow to the cheek. Let's see. There we go. Now it's time for that iconic hat, right? It's called a Fauntleroy, and that is Donald Duck's middle name. We know that because during World War II, he got drafted into the Army. There was a cartoon where we saw his draft notice that said, Donald Fauntleroy Duck is to report for duty. And so, but that little sailor outfit is technically called a Fauntleroy. The hat, that sailor hat, is going to start right here at the top of this eyebrow. I'm going to bring up a line that's just high enough to go over that shark fin, and then I'm going to jump the shark. I'm going to go over to the other eyebrow. There we go. There we go, just like that. Now, it's always at that jaunty angle, higher on this side, lower on this side. I'm going to start right where the brow and that line meet, and bring up a big curve, big backwards letter C like that. Comes out about that far. When it gets over this eyebrow, that's where I'm going to hit the brakes with this. Just like that. Grabbing on here now, I'm going to draw in another C, and it's going to go from here to right where this eyebrow meets the side of his face, which is right about here. Looks pretty good. I'm going to bring that out a little further to match it. Yep, that looks better. You have to puff that out just a wee bit there. There we go. Let's lock this in. Now there's one last very iconic detail to this hat, and that is that ribbon that angles down from the lower end of it. That is going to be so easy to draw, it's going to stun you. It's a stretched out W. Watch this. Ta-da! I'm just going to go ahead and shade that in, and I'll shade in the hat band, and having done that, we have finished our drawing of the most popular character Walt Disney ever created, Donald Fauntleroy. I'm going to sign this guy right over here. You all do the same. How did everybody do? All right, I got one fantastic. I'm going to put that right in the bag. Well, let's have an art show. I know some of you are still diligently working on this, but I'm dying to see how your ducks turned out. Here, show me Donald Duck. Loving it. Great job. You guys made them nice and big. What?
He's a little off. I tried. I love
Show
Donald, but I ain't that good.
Great stuff, bro. Love
Anyway.
that. Really nice quality. Give yourselves a great round of applause. Well done.